go see what we got, but it's about the right price for what we're looking for, so, for a used one, so.
Is that one of the single axle,
Single
small,
axle, all-wheel drives, yeah, four-wheel drive. Good-looking truck from pictures, so it might be
kind of like the
somewhere
one we
interesting.
bought last time,
Yeah,
or
almost identical.
similar to?
Got the sander in the back and ready to go. So. That's about it. That's
Very
3
good.
months of something to do.
Do we want to go take a look at a couple of these gates across these roads? I know we had that discussion. I don't know
Yeah,
if
that'd be
we
great.
we
Anytime
want to
you
go
guys-
take a road trip tomorrow maybe, or
Sure.
I know that was brought up. I don't know if we need to go look at that, kind of get your overall perspective of, I think it was
When you're ready,
36, 38. So what's your schedule look like tomorrow?
it's open
Okay.
after the meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, it would,
I'll
be
around.
after the meeting, sometime after
Okay.
I probably can't go.
you have
NVI.
tomorrow meeting. Okay. Well, we'll
Just
we'll
let
see
me
what
know.
everybody's schedules look like and maybe get that set up.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be happy to. Absolutely. So,
All right.
good. Is that it?
Questions?
Question?
No, huh?
Comments?
Roads I've been on out the north and northwest out there, not too bad a shape.
No, and they wintered pretty good. You know, we
Yeah.
always have a problem with mag chloride because it potholes with the water, but we haven't had a lot of water, so that's helped. And then some of them we were able to blade early and get them smoothed out, and they've held good. The mag actually come back to life and did pretty good, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last 2 weeks, I don't
Yeah,
I don't think I've gotten a road call
Good.
for 2 weeks now. I probably just jinxed myself, but yeah, we haven't. I
It
haven't
was a
had
little rough when the frost was coming out in January, but once it settled down, then it got pretty good again.
haven't had a call
Yeah, I
for a
was
couple of
surprised when the
weeks.
frost came out. It didn't rut up as bad as I thought it was going to.
Some did,
Yeah.
some were pretty tough. It was tough for a week or so there, but overall, I mean, we come out of that pretty good, and then we rubbed out some of the bad spots, and now we're gonna go ahead and start cutting deep and pulling ditches and get everything pulled up and get ready for mag, and then mag, you get to cut and lay it out and mag it again, so it'll get it bladed again, so. A lot of
What's,
blading this time of year.
What's the
Yeah.
cost of the mag? Is it holding steady this year?
No,
or
GMCO hasn't gave us a price yet, but Desert Mountain, they're up a few pennies from last year. So it seems like every year we get a 2 or 3 cent increase. We just do, so. Nobody knows why, we just do, so. But that's the nature of all of it now.
is it? Mhm.
Hopefully GMCO will get that number to us, and it'll be add even or a couple pennies extra, and we'll be okay.
Okay.
How's oil price look for chip seal?
They're not coming down from last year. I think we paid like $720 a ton last year. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so it's not coming down.
okay.
So, anyway, price of
All
doing business. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
thanks. You bet.
All right, appreciate it. All right, I did see Cyndal, I think, yep. Come on down, Cyndal, and we'll talk about weeds.
I don't got too much to update. The free out of fight crew is just moving along. They got down into that lower section of the last part of this property, and then we can move on. Hopefully they'll have that done by the first week of April, and then we can move on to the last 3 that we have. And those probably only take a week at a time, if that.
Those were the small properties,
They're
right?
the smaller
little,
properties, yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't
like
take
3
very.
and 5 acres or something total.
Yeah, I think total between the 3 of them, there's 10 acres, give or take, but it's not it's not as dense as the property we're on right now, so it
Right.
shouldn't take
And
near as long.
What's your projection as far as they're at right now, over the last email that we had looked at?
So right now, they're getting, like I said, probably the first week of April, maybe the end of March for this property they're on now. It's just gonna be, that lower section's a little more tricky because the slopes are sloughing off as they're trying to get down into that area, so they're just making sure that they're safe going down into it. So as long as we can stay just in that valley where we're at, we shouldn't have a problem. But if we have to go back up, we might have to find other routes back down into it to get to where we need to be.
Okay.
But they've, since we last talked, I believe they've completed another 5 to 6 acres. Or, yes, 5 to 6 acres since then.
So what's their average that they're getting a week now?
About 3.5. So the last we had, at 3 acres, now we're about 3.5 acres, so we're getting into the less denser section of it. So it should go pretty quick now.
Okay.
And then, I did get the QS license, I actually just received that in the mail today. And then, we just received the information for the cost share, we got approved for that as well.
Okay,
And that's all I've got.
questions, gentlemen?
No, thank you, appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you, Cyndal. All right, Mel, you're up next. I think we've seen you every week.
Well, everybody kind of knows what we got going down there right now, so I'm gonna give you an overview of what we did last year. All right, so we ended the year with about 1.2 million in the bank, which we're gonna need for cell 5. We sent off 84.23 tons of office paper, 469.23 tons of cardboard, sent 940 pounds of aluminum belts, 405 appliances to belts, 69.60 tons of scrap metal to belts. Sent one load of plastics, which was 16.88 tons of plastics that went to Georgia. We have 17,360 tires on site, which we're gonna shred.
Mel, turn your mic on, please.
This one,
There we go.
Now it is.
so, we're gonna have to rent the shredder, we didn't get the grant.
Okay.
So,
Dadgummit.
we're gonna get a hold of some companies and find out which one's close and one we need, and start as soon as the weather starts clearing up. Sent a load of e-waste to Phoenix. We received 605 tons of green waste. Sold 243 items out of our upcycle store. And sold $10,575 worth of compost. We still got a pretty good pile, which is all we're gonna have for this year. The compost that we made last year would not meet time and temp. We're gonna have to redo it because of the wood chips that we received from Ironwood. It just won't work. So until we shred our green waste and mix it, then we'll have more compost. But we still got a pretty good pile. We've been selling it quite a bit. This Thursday's the walkthrough. Had a few people call that are gonna be there, so it's supposed to rain, we'll see. I don't know, Rob's got all of the gravel down at the landfill, it's already there and staged, ready to go. The crew is working on digging out some of the subgrades, so the contractor will have less to worry about when they get there. I don't know how much we're gonna get done between now and then, but they are working on it and moving the soil, so. Carver Field is almost totally done. We just gotta put a thin layer over the top of the wood chips and wait for the approval from CDPHE. And we'll move our composting operations to that.
Good.
And that's where we're at.
Do you see any real big changes this year with products coming from out of our county? Kind of, I mean, we
It's
discussed
steady.
that a little bit.
We get calls. I just got a call from a corporation down around Aztec somewhere. They're wanting to bring in some material that they use for cleaning some kind of gas. They're looking to move to us because we're quite a bit cheaper, and it's unlimited sulfured material, maybe a couple tons a week, which isn't much, but it'd be more income for us. But that's about it. We still get a lot of people coming from Durango. We're just cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where it's at. We're fixing to go up the next lift in cell 4. When that lift's complete, we'll be as high as cell 3. So hopefully we get to the Carver Field and get our compost moved over there so we can start back on cell 1 and start closure, go all the way up and start closure, working our way south. So,
How much higher do we have to go on cell 1?
a little over 20 feet,
20 feet?
but it's a taper grid,
Yeah,
you know, the higher we
yeah.
go, the smaller it gets, but
Right.
yeah, it's in the center, it's another 20 feet. and then we have to do a 4-foot cover over that and seed it, get it for closure, so.
Yep.
I don't think, with what's going on this year, we usually put in some money for a closure and post-closure. I think we'll have to postpone that until after we get done with cell 5 build and see where we stand financially, and then put that money in that account. That way we won't have to borrow as much, if we have to borrow it any, so.
We'll see. I think, what, April 1st is when the bids, or can't even remember now.
I didn't bring it up.
I didn't bring that either, but, well, we'll see what it is.
Yeah. We got a little over 1.2. Of course, I just got that bill from Rob this morning right before I came up on the gravel, and that's, that's a chunk of change. But it's there, ready to go. So
Yeah.
that'll help save on the cost of the bid too, so.
Okay?
Anything else?
No.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
Mel.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you, guys.
Keep the wind down.
I don't see Justin, and I don't see George, and I don't see our emergency manager,
He's
so,
in disguise over there
I
in the
guess.
corner. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
we didn't hardly recognize
Did we got a new emergency manager?
you. I don't know.
All right. Changed your look so much I didn't recognize you.
Back to normal.
Wow. All right, we do have a report from our emergency manager.
We do. No disasters, no nuisances.
Well, actually, when I read your report, the very first thing I read on it is that if you look under disaster emergency declaration, there is a disaster still there, and I'm questioning why.
That's what the tribe likes.
Have you ever had a conversation? I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
sure
no,
we're really,
I've had the conversation with the emergency manager down there, or the public safety director. He said they still want to keep it in place until the end of this summer. So, a lot of high grass, odds and ends. They were discussing to bring it down, and they decided to leave it up. So it's still in effect.
no, I when I read it, I'm like
Yep.
a little curious and questioning it, but
Yeah.
again, it's not our purview, but
No. And so the last 3 reports, pretty much, they're all, you get copies every time and read them. And then it's on the web. We posted all of them up there. And just real quick highlights, spending a lot of time last month training, travel, teaching, presenting, et cetera, but we're done with that month. And this month, this whole year, pretty much planning, just constant paperwork, doing a lot of grants. Integrated preparedness plan has to be done, so it's completed for 25, 26, and 27. As soon as we get it all organized, it's for grants as well. You have to have it, so it'll be submitted before June. The Southwest Regional Communication Committee, we're redoing our tactical interoperability communication plan. It was in 2019, last time it was updated. So I'm getting all new names and changing some wording. So that's for the region. Emergency operations plan, I've got a couple. You guys signed off on the debris management plan that we have, so I've just got to add that, and we're putting in a couple more items and clean it up, ready. We're supposed to look at that every 3 years. The MOU, Omnibus MOU, all the attorneys looked at it from all the jurisdictions. They're all good with it. Mancos signed it, Cortez signed it, and Dolores should be signing it this week. And we'll have it before the board to sign, so that'll be completed. That's just in emergencies, what we spend, what we don't spend. Even our attorney likes it, so it was good. Everbridge, we're just about done. We got one more cleanup meeting with the alert and warning system, and then a little more training on some people to utilize it, but it's up and running really well. Doing some continuity of operation planning in case buildings are shut down. We got to go somewhere, so starting to work on those. There's just all this grant unfunded mandate plans. So the Colorado Emergency Preparedness Assessment, it's due as well. I pushed it out to the end of the year or till next year, so they're fine with that. Let's see. Generators, all approved, everything with the state. We're ready to throw in an RFP and start moving forward so we can get that moving. So we've got like 2 years to get that done. And then our hazard mitigation plan, by the time it's due next year, September 2025, but it takes about 16 months, stakeholder meetings, all that stuff, like it did last year. So I was talking to Rob, so I'm working real close with Rob on all of these wonderful grants that we're trying to clean up, and but we're going to submit for that planning grant and have them start. And it takes 2 to 6 months maybe till FEMA says go for it, and then the contractor, the RFPs, and then we have to they'll spend 2 months reviewing the old one.
And then there's an election right in the middle of it.
And there's an election right in the middle of it. So we're just going to start that pretty early. That's kind of it. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we've had some brush fires, put them out, which is good, but it's starting, it's warming up, and we all know that. So grass will get a little higher. Hopefully
Well,
everything will be
It's a
just
lot
fine.
higher.
Everybody will start burning now. I think Commissioner Copenhaver said that coming up, well, it's his story, I'll let him tell the story, but I think there's a lot of burning that's already going on throughout the county.
Yeah, down McKelmo.
Yep.
They're burning, cleaning a lot of ditch and stuff.
Yep.
There's several places.
Yeah.
I came up this morning, they were working on it.
Good. Good, now's the time. Let's clean it all up, get the piles burned up and the ditches and everything.
Yeah, if you're gonna burn, check the weather, check the wind.
Well, and call dispatch too.
Yeah, call
Don't-
Yes.
dispatch.
Don't forget to call dispatch,
Check the weather,
please.
check the wind. Don't burn on a red flag day, please. Yeah.
Well, you
Just-
get done quicker.
It does get done quicker. A lot of resources out there to help. Yeah, so, yeah, we're prepping. We've already had our ops meeting and everybody's seen the weather forecast and all the stuff we're doing, so we're pretty well prepped. Most of the equipment's all getting in place this month. So all the helicopters and tanker bases and everybody's just getting ready, so we should be ready to go. It's gonna be a fine summer.
Oh, it'll be great. The water pack's good, or the snow pack of what it
Snowpack is
says
just right.
is good. So
When is,
it should be fine.
When is the automated switch over to the actual weather forecast coming out of the fire weather watch out of Junction? You know, the Zone 207 fire weather?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's still automated. I didn't know when they
Yep.
started doing their dailies.
I don't know. Interagency usually does that. and
Yeah.
I think they set it up with the service. I haven't seen any text yet on that
I haven't
weather.
either.
They're just using National Weather Service right
Uh-huh.
now. But the fire weather, they usually kick in, isn't it, April, maybe?
I used to think it came in around the 15th of March, and I kind of been waiting to see, so,
Might be.
but I don't know.
I can find out, yeah. I used to, well, I get them, but I haven't seen one either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Carry on.
You look nice. You look
I'm-
well.
Little spring cleaning.
Well, I thought I'd try it for a year or so and don't like it, so. Try to go back to normal,
All right.
like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
or 2 years ago, yeah. So, 2.5, it's close enough.
All right.
Gentlemen, have a great day.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see the other two in here yet, so we'll jump on down to some grant stuff we're going to talk about. Mr. Dobry, come on down. And Wanda, or whoever wants to come on
Yeah.
down,
Everybody, come on down.
because we have 3 of them with you all. Okay, which one do you want to do first?
The Bulletproof vest grant, I think,
Okay,
was first on the-
Bulletproof vest, first
yeah.
one on the list.
This is an annual partnership that the Montezuma County Sheriff's Office enters into with the Bureau of Justice Assistance. They pay for half of the 50% of the bulletproof vests. And this was, I think, originally applied for in April of 2023. It was before our full grant process was in process, I guess. And but we wanted to bring it now that they've gotten back and are going to award the $5,925. Wanda sent me everything. I think everything looks to be in order, and with your approval, we'll be ready to go forward with that.
So this is just a submission application form that we make?
No,
the
it was
decision on
it was
tomorrow?
submitted last year before it's final. They're finally getting back to us to actually pay the half.
Okay.
It's a reimbursement grant. So as we get the vests, and it's very stringent as far as how they want reporting. They want to know which deputy got the vest, what the serial number is and everything. So we have to actually get the vests, have them paid for, and then I get online and fill everything out. And then they send the reimbursement and it goes into the treasurer's account.
Okay.
And normally, we average about 9 vests a year, and this grant helps pay for half of those vests. The vests that we're using right now, average cost is $1,185 a vest.
So are these new, or do they, I guess that's probably not a good word. What is their lifespan on them? I mean, like everything else?
5 years.
5 years, is that
We
what
have
it
to
is?
roll them every 5
Right.
years.
I guess that's what I was saying is what's
Yeah.
the cycle?
So every 5 years, and I keep a spreadsheet, and so I keep track, and every year I know who has to have a new vest, and so we make sure that they get into their new vests when they're up. The 5 years is expired.
And what do we do with the old ones?
We keep them stockpiled. A lot of times when our guys come out of the academy, before we issue them a new vest, we make sure they go through the field training and they pass before we spend the money on a vest. And so we'll issue them one of the older vests. We have people that leave and stuff, and so they're not outdated. So we'll issue those out until we can roll them into a new vest. And it takes about 6 or 8 weeks once we get the order in, because they custom make them to the deputy.
The other 50% comes out of my uniform line item in the budget. So we're paying for half.
Right.
They're paying for half.
Yeah.
Great.
50% match, basically.
Yes. I have to write the grant for the whole amount, and then they give us half.
The reimbursement.
Okay. All right, next one. Which is the wander,
Yeah.
person who wanders.
The next grant is the Persons Who Wander grant. It was originally applied and approved at the first meeting in January to submit, and now they are awarding it. At first look, I thought that their agreement didn't require signatures, but it does require signature in Zoom grants. So when you approve that tomorrow, assuming you approve that tomorrow, we would either need to get a Zoom grants account for Commissioner Candelaria to sign, or I have a Zoom grants account and he could oversee the signature. I don't know exactly how we could do that, but we need to have a.
I think if it's okay with the grant coordinators, I think that the BOCC could make a motion tomorrow to authorize you to sign that, Mr. Dobry.
Okay.
If that will work for them. Otherwise, I guess we'll have to get another
Yeah,
account.
I don't know that he can. It
Oh,
has to
okay.
be the commissioner.
Perfect.
Okay.
Jim
So then
Candelaria.
then
Yes,
we'll-
it does.
And they sent you a Zoom email
Like a sign-on
to
email?
sign in. Yeah.
They
Okay.
will
They
send it?
did, they already
Okay.
did. They sent yours and mine together at the same time, so.
When
it's
did
there.
they send it?
I couldn't tell you, probably 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Who did it come from?
Check your emails, yeah. It's from DOLA, I think. TCJ,
I'm not
I'm
sure
sorry.
what
That's
Zoom is
CBI.
under.
CBI.
Yeah, I think it would be CBI.
Yeah, CBI and Department of Public Safety.
This letter was dated March 6th,
Okay.
but that's what you put in our packet, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It would have been an email that would have
Yeah, I
sent.
didn't get.
If you'd like, I can forward that to you, Mr.
I-
Candelaria.
I can probably find it. I'm sure it's
Okay,
in
if you
there.
can't,
If
let me
if
know.
it's in there, I'll find it. So, March 6th.
That way I can see it. Yeah, and there aren't any issues with it. You, as I said, approved it the first meeting of January, and now the award is coming in. So it was a successful
So
successful
other than
grant
now,
application.
just, we can, Ian, you've obviously looked at it, so then we can sign it after tomorrow.
So I
We
looked
don't
at,
have
I looked at the original application. This is just the award though,
This is
right?
just the award.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
And what
It's an award
does
letter.
it do?
It's
It's training for two deputy or detectives for the drone pilot
Okay,
certifications.
I thought
and
that's what it
training.
was when I
That's
seen
what it
eyes
was.
in the sky, but I wasn't
It's called
for sure.
Persons Who Wander.
Yeah.
Okay, go figure.
I like
But that's
that
what
title.
we use our drones for when we have missing older folks. Yep,
Yeah, that was a minimal, like $2,600, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's not much.
So I'll find it, and as soon as we approve it tomorrow, I'll sign it. Shouldn't be hard to find.
Okay, next one.
Questions?
No,
I
I
don't have any.
Okay.
asked
All
and
right.
answered.
This is the post-rural small agency academy grant. This is funded by Colorado Post, and will be to send 4 deputies to become post-certified, 2 in the fall and then 2 later in the spring. The total grant amount is $34,732, and there's no match. They fully fund the tuition. And the application's attached, and
Yeah, this is a tuition paid for by the Department of Law, Colorado Post. For deputies, because the costs go up 3 to 6%, it seems like every year. Last year, there was tuition costs for $12,150. However, this year, they're going up just over $13,000. However, there is, if they apply for the Colorado Opportunity Fund credit, which is $4,292, it reduces that tuition cost down to just above $6,000. So we won't know because the fiscal years run from July 1 to June 30th. And so whether or not the Colorado Opportunity Fund would be refunded again for the 2024-25 fiscal year, don't know. So we put that in there. You have to ask for the highest amount just in case that those funds aren't available.
So this is just another submission grant application form. So we're asking for
Right.
this,
yes.
Yeah.
correct?
There's a grant committee that, if this is approved, that I would have to testify to in order to try and get the grant to happen. There's several phases that go on with this.
So it doesn't start, so did they even start looking at this before July 1st? Or is
Yes,
it,
they'll start looking at it next month.
so they don't?
So that they can come out with whoever is awarded in the month of May, which starts July 1.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
And this is one, I spoke with Colorado Post and confirmed that they asked for it to be signed by the chief of the agency. So this is one that will need to be signed by the sheriff as opposed to the commissioners. Obviously with your approval and
With our
authority.
approval, which we obviously don't approve today, it would have to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
That's fine.
Just for some backstory, we've had 2 applicants every semester for how many years now?
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
So, and most of them come from detentions who are waiting and wanting to become certified officers. So they roll into this program and then can become road deputies.
Yeah, there's a stringent requirement in a selection process. They have to be vetted for 2 years with good overall performance evaluations, no disciplinary actions, nothing. And then they can go before a selection committee. Their personnel file, their performance evaluation, everything is reviewed, and they have to, they appear before that oral board to be selected. So, And
Are
then
you-
after graduation,
Never mind.
3 years
Sorry.
commitment to this agency for 3
Good.
years.
They sign a contract.
So is that contractually that we're doing
Yes.
now, or that the agency is doing?
Right.
So once the certification is done, you have them for a minimum of 3 years to pay for the,
Grant.
Yeah.
The
Or
investment.
they have to pay
for
us
the
back.
investment,
Or they
yeah.
have to pay, yeah, they have to pay back.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you see your grant applications tightening up? Do you see them rejecting a lot of grants statewide anymore?
No.
Okay, good.
I haven't had a problem.
This complies with everything? Everything complies with everything, or we,
This one, I spoke with Post and they said it had been submitted already. So that's the only issue, but, that was the other piece is I did speak with them and they said it does need to go through, it does need to be signed by the sheriff as
Okay.
opposed to you, but obviously it needs your approval before that.
so we're ahead. Okay, so now you just, maybe,
Yeah.
so we're not compliant with,
You just have to approve the sheriff signing it and we're good.
well, it sounds like it's been submitted. Or, so I'm confused.
I believe it was submitted. I think the sheriff can probably speak to that better than I can, but, that it was submitted.
Because this is the grant application that we typically submit before anything is approved and sent on. Correct?
Yes.
This is what we're seeing. We haven't signed this.
No, you have not.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Is everything compliant like normal? The same questions we ask all the time, or is it not?
It didn't come to you before it was submitted.
Okay. So
It's just,
I'll ask the
it's
question.
to get your name into that pool of being able to apply for the grant. It hasn't, there's still 2 other phases that you have to go through. That's happened every year. Just because you apply for it doesn't mean that you're
I understand that,
even going to
but
get anything.
I'm following what you're
Yeah.
saying, Sheriff, but I guess to follow the compliance of what we have done, the direction that we went is that the grant application form has to come before us prior to submitting a grant. And I guess that was my question is, the grant's already been submitted without our approval to submit the grant.
Well, the application has been, yes.
I understand that. This is an application which, so that we're compliant with our own policies internally, this has to come before us prior to submitting it so that we have our signature on it too. Because the way I read this now is this is the form that we typically see. We sign it, we make the decision, we sign it, and then the grant is submitted. We're going backward here. So in other words, we're not following the policy? Is that?
It was submitted before, it was submitted before it came to me and came to you.
So do we
Yes.
have enough time to, do we
We
have enough
do,
time to
we
clean
do.
this
The,
up?
the grant is due, the actual grant would be due March 31st.
We have a 3-week window.
Yeah.
So in other words, okay. So
If you were to not approve it, we could call Post and withdraw it, is what could happen.
Well, I could.
Yeah.
But if it gets awarded, we're still gonna have to come back to us before it gets approved.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so,
So in other words, we could clean this up. There's enough time to fix this to follow the policies? Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. I guess that's what I was getting at. That way we make sure that we're following all of the policies, just like everybody else in the county has to with the grant application submission form. So in other words, because there is no approval on here, it should have been, we should have had our approval on here before this was submitted.
To apply?
To
We have a
apply.
3-week window.
To apply.
Okay.
They're all They're all open, and like we've said
Well,
consistently,
there's no way to
guys.
send you any of this to you, so.
The
I don't know
submission
how you
form
do
goes
that.
through the Mr. Dobry and comes to us immediately, and if we have to call even a special meeting to get it done because of the time frame, we always, and we've said openly that we will always do that. So,
What's the date that we submitted that request? No. The BOCC request.
Oh, the
What's date of that?
3/5. So this was the first meeting since
That was before.
yeah. But yes, as you're saying, yes, we can clean this one up in the time before it is due.
Okay.
In the future, what I'm saying is that, or what you're saying is that we do need a draft in advance to make sure that the commissioners can approve it before something is submitted. So that, as far as our process, that's what we're working on. to clean
correct,
up.
and I guess that's the point, is that we
Yeah.
need to follow the process so that everything is equal for everybody, and that we're aware of it before it goes and moves forward. However, we have time to fix this and clean it up and still follow the
Yes.
procurement policy?
Yeah, so yeah,
And-
with approval tomorrow, we can call and clean this up.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
But this isn't a procurement policy issue.
I think
This
it's
is
a
a-
procedural.
It's a
Procedural.
grant policy,
It's a
but
grant
that's not,
policy.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, grant policy. Okay,
Yeah, and I've been working with Wanda on all that, and we're working to make sure that everything that comes through the sheriff's office comes to Wanda, comes to me, and comes to you in a timely manner.
okay. And again, I want to make it real clear that if there's a window that you guys feel is so tight, we only need 24 hours and we can call a special meeting. Even if we have one item on the agenda, we've all committed to do that.
Yeah.
So don't feel it like it has to wait for,
Yeah,
For-
there's a need, let us know.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, because, and I think we've said that several times to the entire county, that we're available. And if you get crushed down to a window that's something appeared that we didn't see, that happens, we realize that, just make sure that we're good to go. Okay,
Thank you.
so we can clean this up, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Guess that's it. We're good?
I think so.
Okay.
Anything else, Wanda? No? Okay, the next one, we'll have MoCo Senior Services for their grant application. Jennifer, come on down.
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So this grant is our yearly grant for MoCo and the Senior Center. They both get one from AAA. So we are, like Sheriff's saying, we have a 5-day window. So it was good we got it in, because now we have to go in and just do the numbers and get that done, and should be good to go. So, and I put on there what we were last year. And that may be give or take, because some of the funding is going away. So they're telling us that it's going to be like an 18% cut across the board. So I'm hoping that it's not so bad, but
For both, for MoCo
yeah.
and senior?
AAA, yep, it's all the same thing. So, yeah, unfortunately.
Why is,
They better
why their
figure
cut?
out that, over 50% of the population of Colorado is over 50 years of age.
Right,
And
I
they
mean,
vote.
that's our majority of rides we give. The seniors are the highest every month. So, yeah, they are, and so we didn't start it, we were supposed to be doing it and didn't quite know how. We're supposed to start like a list of everybody that we want to serve, but can't.
Yeah.
So we've started doing that. That wasn't explained to us. And Christina's gone. I don't know if y'all knew that. She was gone as of last Wednesday or Thursday. So now we're kind of waiting to see who's next and who's going to be doing that, and hopefully they have the knowledge to do it. So, yeah, so a lot of changes coming down for AAA too. So, but it is, for the senior center, that is our main grant.
Yeah.
You know, we have a couple little ones we can apply for that I'm looking into applying for. MoCo has CDOT, so that's, you know, CDOT's mainly that major, but AAA helps, you know. It all helps, and if we don't, you know, if they decide to change it or lower it, especially CDOT, transit would be no more. So it's kind of a scary thing.
That's
but
still a big cut.
Yeah.
18% is still a big
18%,
cut.
I know. I know, we just found out about it. I'm on the RAC board, and we just were told by Christina that it was just going to be 18% across the board. So these were my numbers for last year, so 18% less than that.
Commissioner, you have anything else to add? I mean, I know you sit on this board for us.
Actually, the meeting before last, we did remove our executive director, so there's a little bit of a lag in some of this stuff probably gonna happen for a little bit until we get another executive director. Things get back in swing of things, but there's some issues there that it's gonna have to be addressed. And it's gonna take a little bit to sort them out. So, where this is all gonna come down is kind of up in the air right now, because there's, financially, there's some questions out there, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know all the answers to it,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, but
Got it.
there's some different allegations going on and stuff that it's probably not.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
Can't
didn't,
really
Can't
discuss
bring
All
it.
it,
right,
yeah.
that we can't talk about.
they
So-
didn't, yeah, they didn't say anything, but she was gone to us.
So,
And
in other words, this is just a submission form for us to make a decision on
to
tomorrow?
apply. And just
To
to
apply.
kind of get back to the process there a little bit, Jennifer won't have the final numbers until there's a brief window in their portal that has that. I asked her to just give me a submission form based on last year's number, so that we can kind of start to track it, get your initial approval, and then when it comes to you, once the final numbers are in, then you'll be able to approve the final.
And you'll
grant.
know what it is at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
all right. We'll make that decision tomorrow.
All right, do I want me to be here, or?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
You do not
Thank
need
you.
to be here. We've already asked all the questions, and Rob will be in here for 2 minutes, and we'll make a decision.
All right, perfect, thank you.
I have one question to ask you
Okay.
that's kind of out in left field. Do the NGOs like AARP and AMAC play any part in this? Okay.
No, I mean, it'd be nice to have, somewhere else to get funding, especially for the senior center.
Right.
But there really isn't a whole lot out there. And there's a bunch of initiatives going through right now to try to help that, because we don't have the resources that we could or should have for seniors especially, but for everybody,
Yeah, I mean, you're just seeing our numbers rise after COVID and all that.
Right,
And now
barely,
you're
yeah.
faced with funding shortages.
I know, exactly. That's what's going on, is, we're slowly coming up. I mean, we haven't hit pre-COVID numbers at all, but we're
Yeah.
slowly coming up, and so where's the funding going to come from at that point? So, yeah. Yep. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. I don't see James in here, so do you want to go to the letter of support for the REDI grant?
I have a letter of support for the REDI grant, which is the Rural Economic Development Initiative for the town of Mancos. They are continuing to consolidate several of their community and economic development plans, and are looking for some support from the state for that. If you have any other questions about the letter of support, I'm happy to answer.
No,
pretty straightforward. I didn't.
Pretty easy, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a LOC letter or a
LOS, yeah.
LOS.
Yep. All right.
Commissioner, anything? Okay. All
That's-
right.
that's all I have.
And then, you want to run and capture Mr. Dietrich? And with that, we'll jump back up to department reports. Mr. Justin with the Fairgrounds.
How are you?
Busy. It's been a Monday, so, but I'm here. You don't have a thing on me? What?
There were a lot of, we got them.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, we all
Okay.
got them.
I can kind of, oh, there you go. There you are. Okay. So we've had 3 big events so far to start the year, a couple junior rodeos, and then we just had that Futures Fair here last week, which is something new that we've held out there. And they were doing that for the junior high and high school kids in the region, giving them an opportunity to see some of the businesses and hiring people that they might be able to go out to and work with later on. Other than that, it's been a lot of maintenance for us out there. We've been kind of doing a lot of our daily stuff. But let's see. Get to the right one here. And we're gearing up for our Ag Expo, Home and Garden Show, and Gun Show basically now. That's I kind of changed up my presentation a little bit, kind of give you our budget summary, some pictures of the event that we had here last week. This was during that Futures Fair. And then going on down, our next, yeah, there we go. So we're doing our solar installation right now, and we are just about done with that. They have basically got all the panels up, like you can see there. They've run all the conduit. Most of the wires have been run. Right now, the electrician is finishing buttoning up, installing that to our main circuit breaker on our indoor arena. And hopefully, by the end of this week, it will be live, pending a inspection. So they do have to have that state inspected. Yep. So as long as they can get the inspector out there relatively soon, I'm hoping by at least the end of next week, maybe it's live and going. And that's kind of where we're at with our solar installation.
So we're way gonna make it by the end of March, which we anticipated, I think, the end of May when we originally started with this, so.
Yep, and
we're-
our hope was
we're
to
in
try to
good
get it
shape.
done before our shows come in. So if they're on this schedule, we're right there, because
Perfect.
next weekend we're having the Ag Expo.
Do we need to put any kind of security around these panels?
I don't think so. I mean, they're basically, like, if you'll see that picture right there, all the white stuff is the new stuff that they're putting up. Everything else is existing. We ain't never had any problem with those disconnects in the past. Those solar things are all locked up.
Okay.
And they're inverters is actually what those are.
Yeah.
Those are the inverters. And,
That's the brains of the whole operation is right
yeah,
there.
basically. So if something happens to the solar, it has a haywire. That inverter's supposed to shut things down and
Yeah.
keep it from backfeeding and stuff like that. It also converts it from a DC to an AC signal. So they didn't seem to be too worried about that. They didn't bring it up to my attention, and I haven't had any issue with anything like that on the side of our buildings in the past. So I think we're okay. We could explore that later. I'll pay attention to it, and if I think we'll have issues, then I'll let you know. To our suppression system now.
I just pulled up that email that
Did you? Okay.
Travis forwarded, or actually you maybe forwarded it to me and Travis.
So basically with the suppression system, it's still kind of in review. Cooper got a hold of me, and they they suggested that we kind of get a hold of the state inspector or on this project and kind of give them an idea of why we're going the route we're going, and the feasibility of it, and why that's really our only feasible option. I've tried to reach out to him a few times, and I have not been able to get a call back or get in touch with him. So maybe it would be better if I could have somebody with a little bit higher credentials try for me. So I did reach out to Travis to see if maybe he would like to, or see if maybe one of you guys as a commissioner would like to. And maybe we can move from there, and at least maybe get them on the phone with a meeting and kind of go over, you know. It seems the problem happens to be the FDC in his eyes, so.
I understand that, but what he's saying is that it's not an automatic sprinkler system, which it is. If a head is ready to go off, it will go off. It's just the augmentation
Yeah.
through the FDC that he's questioning. And, I mean, how many FDCs are in the world that you know of just in this local area that augmentation is always there?
It is. That's the sole.
That's the whole purpose of an
Yeah.
FDC. The sprinkler system will still go off a
Correct.
head at a time, depending on the, you know, where the fire is located, but I'm not,
And in most scenarios, it's probably gonna be sufficient, you know, cause you're only gonna have one or two go off, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's gonna do its job, or at least until backup arrives.
Right.
Which is
So-
kinda what we're looking at.
when Travis gets back, I don't mind making a
Okay.
phone call to try and get a hold of him. I'll also talk to, Mr. Dowdy tonight while I'm over in the Dolores meeting.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't quite understand his whole, it is still an automatic fire system. It's still supplied with water. We're not using the FDC just to supply it.
Solely, correct, yes.
Correct.
Yep.
We're augmenting it.
Yep, and that was kind of what I was going to explain to him, and kind of let him know the reason we were going down that route with some of the issues that we have. So Cooper thinks if we reach out to him, then maybe he'll, you know, kind of look past that. But it seems like that's really the only hang-up, is just that.
Okay.
The word automatic, basically, in their definitions. So.
Hey, Travis, I see you're on there listening. Make sure you make a note so that we can get that done whenever you get back into town, please.
So
Okay.
then what we've actually finally got most of our, as far as what we're doing out there at the fairgrounds, we've got most of our lights now converted to LED. I've been trying to get the indoor T5s converted for the last couple of years, and I've just been having issues sourcing it. But finally last year I was able to source some T5s for it, so through the winter we got most all those. We got about a handful of fixtures just left to button up, which we'll do now that we got the arena. We're taking it out today. So we'll get those all finished up. And then we are solely as efficient as we possibly can be inside that building. When we did our last audit, it seemed like we really can't do anything else, so unless we decide to change heaters or something. But
Well, I think we've, all the new stuff we put in a couple years ago when we did that remodel, we changed all that, and they're about as efficient as that we can possibly have at this
Yeah.
point in time, so.
really the only things, if you wanted to nitpick, is our meeting rooms. We got some heaters in there that's a little bit less inefficient, you know, because they're old electric heaters. But other than those, and, you know, we have to keep them on just so we don't have lines freezing up. But other than those, everything else is pretty much.
Would conversion to mini splits, I mean, you know, heat pumps help
That-
you out?
Possibly, I don't know what that cost savings would be, you know,
Get a hold of the
For
guys
the-
at Empire, they can figure that out
for
for
the
you.
cost. I do know if we put something like that in there, it would be kind of like the kitchen, and it seems like the kitchen one's doing pretty good because we got
Yeah.
mini splits in there now.
The only thing with you're talking those meeting rooms that are
Yeah, I'm
12
talking
foot
about the meeting
tall.
rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
So-
issues that we have, are those meeting rooms have such a high ceiling in there, we're heating a
They do, especially the one on the
lot
south end. I mean, it's a real tall
cubic
ceiling.
feet.
And the
need
insulation
that
is just
much
kind of
height?
subpar. I'm, you know, single pane windows.
Yeah.
subpar insulation. So
You might start putting together something for us. I mean, the windows would be easy to fix.
Yeah, talk to Rob. There might be some energy grants available out there for that.
and we actually have been looking into some of
Okay.
this. So I mean, we're kind of looking at some stuff that we might try to shoot to you. So
And I guess I'm going to echo what Commissioner Lindsay said. Do we actually really need that high of a ceiling in there? I mean,
that one, maybe not. I'll have to kind of look into that a little bit. I do know the fair likes to put things pretty high up on the wall, so kind of depending on what they do with
but
those.
even like this room,
Even
we
a
have
drop
a
ceiling,
10-foot ceiling.
Yeah.
We could do a drop ceiling and insulate it. Out there, we're probably 14 foot tall.
I really only, I mean,
What's the thermal plane's 10 foot, if I remember right?
I don't know.
I think
I don't know.
I think you create a thermal plane at 10 feet, I think.
Okay, I'll do some
I don't,
looking.
I don't
So,
know, but I'm just saying, I don't, in the past several years, I can't,
Yeah.
nobody has any displays that are that tall out there. And if
No, I mean, most of the people don't. Really, the only time you're going to use that much wall surface is if they're running a projector shooting on the wall and it's pretty tall. Or like I say, the fair has run things from the top corners down. So I'll see what kind of space they actually need in there
Yeah.
and maybe go from there. So, some of the other things that we've got done, you know, kind of out there, we did repaint our indoor bleachers this winter. We've just kind of been working on little things like here and there, you know, as far as holes in the walls or welding up panels, things like that. Seems like it's just kind of been that all winter long with our daily stuff as far as cleaning and grooming arenas and keeping things watered down. I did mention we're getting ready to come up on our Ag Expo, so we are in the process of removing the arena right now. It's going to be out for a couple months while we have our big shows come in. The other thing that we have been working a little here and there, as long as the weather's good, is those bullpens in our outdoor arena. The Ute Mountain Rodeo Committee, they did purchase some pins for that before last year's rodeo that are like 6 foot tall, so they provide more safety. But we're trying to build those pins a little bit more safe around those for holding pins. So it's kind of been putting posts in the grounds, building gates, putting new rails, moving rails over, that kind of thing. So we've just kind of been working on that a little bit here and there. They are also looking at moving that north fence by the grandstands at some point, hopefully, maybe. They're needing to expand kind of where they do their stage last year. I don't know if you guys were out there, and we had the stage back in there, and they had a little concert area there on the north end of the outdoor arena. They're wanting to take that north fence and maybe push it out 40 foot or so, and then give them a lot more space on that north end of the arena and the grandstands, just for more room, for more, you know, possibility of entertainment, things like that. So I just kind of wanted to throw it by you and say that they are looking at doing something like that. They're running quotes right now, and just to kind of see what that stuff would cost. The racetrack, they've been doing some work here and there on the weekends. I do know back in November they went in there and they cut it, and then in December he did do a treatment on that track to kind of help it from cracking. So he sprayed some kind of a natural additive of some sort to prevent it from cracking. It's kind of beyond my realm, so I'm not too sure what that entails. They've been back in there here these last few weekends kind of doing some measuring and everything. He told me that his insurance is requiring him to do two things if he wants to race. They're going to have, or if they want to be insured, they're going to have to install a 20 to 30 foot long fence from the exit of the racetrack going east where the pits are, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
That's just to kind of separate the cars coming off the track and the pit pedestrians. It has to be 6 foot high, and then they want about 20 to 30 foot long. So he is saying that his insurance is requiring him to have that this year, so as long as you guys are good with that, he does plan on trying to get that put in. That's one of the things he's been out there measuring and looking at. The other one is the lights, the racetrack lights. If he wants to run at night, which is really kind of the only way they can run, because I guess the cars overheat if they're running during the days, he's going to have to do something with the lights for his insurance as well. And that's either A, just change those out to a more efficient light, the fixture itself, or B, retrofit them to a different type, like an LED or something. He's not going to change the poles or anything else, but he does want to do those lights, change either the fixture, the bulb of some sort, and that fence. Those are kind of the two things as long as the county's okay with him doing those, that's really all he's going to do right now as far as improvements. The other things is he's planning on painting the bleachers and maybe some of the buildings out there. And then doing a little bit more cleanup and doing a little more cutting on the track.
So the lights is a pretty simple deal. I mean, we always discuss that and
Yeah.
change the
Yeah.
lights. Do whatever you have to do to comply with your insurance, because he has to have insurance to operate.
Yep, and I told him I didn't think he'd have an issue with that. The fence is one thing that's going to go in, and he's got to break ground, but as long as you guys don't have a problem with that, then
It's a fence. It's
Yeah.
post holes. It's 30 feet long. That's not really an impact on anything and that's to comply with his insurance
Yep.
anyway, so.
and both of those are to comply with his insurance this year. He was wanting to try to do a little bit more, but with them telling him this, he just wants to kind of focus on these and get them done. So I know he was out there again this last weekend, and they were out there kind of messing around a little bit, doing some more measuring.
Yeah, I went by Saturday and the lights were on.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of trying to make sure everything's operational and see
Yeah,
if he
for
needs
us,
to
I
fix
think
anything.
to make sure he keeps his insurances.
Yeah, and
probably
his
the
insurance is
bigger-
good through April right now, so as long as
Yeah.
he gets it renewed, then it'll be for another year from April. And then the following is just kind of an upcoming calendar that you guys can look at, kind of the events that we got coming up. Obviously, our big shows are coming up, and right around the corner is going to be the Ute Mountain Rodeo coming up, and we got some monster trucks scheduled for June, I think it is, right in there. So a couple new things that we haven't had, and then our same annual stuff. But that's pretty much all I got for you guys.
Okay. Like I said, I'll get with Travis and
Okay.
we'll make a phone call and see what we can't do and see if we can't get this. This is another one of those things that seems like it's taken us forever.
Yeah. So I feel like we might be almost there if we can kind of get past this one little hurdle. So,
Okay.
okay.
All right. Thank you,
Thank
Justin.
you, gentlemen.
All right.
What
now
about,
we'll,
before you leave, what about the 12 hours of Mesa Verde? Have you heard anything from them?
Yeah, they're running. Is
Okay.
that what you're asking?
Yeah,
Yep, they're May.
There it is. Yeah, I see it
Mother's Day
now.
weekend.
yeah,
Yep, they're annual. They're not going to go nowhere. So
okay.
Phil's World's right across the street, and it's a perfect place for them. And they like the venue, and they're nothing but a good board to work with. So
we'll probably see them in here pretty quickly
Yeah.
because they
yeah,
typically have
I
their.
think they're actually scheduled for tomorrow or next week, one or the other. I think they told me so they could come and ask about their alcohol stuff.
They're
We'll see
out-
him tomorrow,
yeah.
so.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's coming. I'm
Yep,
sure
I know.
it's
I know
coming.
they're
Okay.
they're coming up quick. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Justin. All right, Mr. Dietrich. Talk a little bit about the Pass the Mesa Verde Phase Number 2 discussion.
Gentlemen?
Good afternoon.
Yes, okay, so I'm trying to give a little background on this. So in 2021, we were awarded $688,250 from the state MMOF fund, and that required 0% match from the county. So we're in really good shape on all that, very, very low risk overall in terms of county finances on this. So The portion that we were looking at would be segment A, and that runs from the west end of the fairgrounds into town, and it's supposed to connect with the high school. So we kind of truncated that a little bit with some of the work that we've been doing as far as the right-of-way work, and we think that the best place to really kind of terminate it is going to be at Denny Lake. Things get a little more complicated within the city limits, but we can still thread the needle to make it reach the school. So this seems like a reasonable fallback position on that. We originally split this into two pieces because the first thing was we really wanted to focus on figuring out the right-of-way, because where the trail ends at the west end of the fairgrounds, it would deviate from the CDOT right-of-way and go out across some private property. And so we needed the ability to be able to go out and negotiate with those property owners and see if there was potential there. We do have the potential there, so we're at the next phase of this is setting up the formal right-of-ways with those individuals. So that all looks like it's going good. The other thing that we have to do with that is we have to do our environmental clearances in order to get those formal right-of-ways on the books. Which seems crazy to me because, I mean, if you run it at the north end of the property versus the south end of the property, that could be different. But nevertheless, it's a step the CDOT puts us through. So we're at a point now where we want to enter into the phase 2 of this project, and that will allow us to start moving through the environmental clearances, get all those boxes checked, and then it moves us right on into the final design on that. So we've got a proposal for the phase 2 portion of that, and again, everything on phase 1 is well within our budget. And moving ahead with that, and we'll continue, like I said, a little bit of work to finalize phase 1 of this. Phase 2 is also within our budget, and so what that would do is allow us to just start moving forward with the final right-of-way negotiation and get all that formalized, and then start working on the actual design work. So, and that's what we're just here to discuss today, is really the phase 2 portion of that. And again, everything is within the budget that's been proposed to us, or within the budget that MMO allows us, I guess I should say. So, but the proposals conform to that. One thing I do want to point out with both proposals is the first one, we kept about $10,000 in reserve in case something came up. Okay, so that money we didn't have to use. It'll roll forward into the next one. And in the next one, we're also going to keep a contingency fund of $53,000 available in case we run into any other surprises. So hopefully that'll be enough to cover anything that might potentially come up. So, at this point, you know, I'm ready to prepare the general services agreement and offer that out to OTAC based on the proposal that they provided.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yep.
The
Okay.
nice lady in the back
let's-
can
let's
attest to,
keep
she
it-
was probably at the beginnings of all of this. And I spoke to Chris Burkett the other day, and he was the one that proposed it, what, 26 years ago?
Yeah, it was probably 24, yeah, at least
Yeah,
25
it's-
years ago.
yeah.
It's
Been a long time.
in concept, yeah. Yeah, nothing like persistence in southwest Colorado, you know.
To get anything done.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So anyway, and again, I think if we need to visit any more about this tomorrow, I'm happy to come in. Otherwise, if everything looks like it's what we agreed to in the beginning, I think we're okay to just march forward with our original marching
Yeah.
orders.
So this is just an update. That's
This
all
is essential,
is.
just an
Yeah.
update, just to let you all know.
Yep.
Yeah, if you see anything that looks funky, please let me know. You know, everything I've reviewed kind of looks like it's right on target. And they're doing what they said they're going to do. We've been very happy with this firm. They've really been. I think things have gone very smoothly with this firm, and especially with regards to turning in our reimbursables. They've been very good about providing all the background information, everything we need to get our money back from the state. So so far everything's been very good with this outfit.
All right. Well, maybe by 26, we actually get a segment built.
Well, I sure hope so. I should be in first part of April to give you kind of the updates on everything. There are some complications happening, especially over on the Mancos side. And I'll kind of fill you in on that. We are scrambling. In CDOT, I gotta tell you, CDOT has been a great partner in this. They're stepping up to the plate and really trying to help us figure out how we're gonna be able to make this thing happen. Like I said, there's complications. It's stuff that we can't handle. That flat budget got pushed back another year, so we're talking as fast as we can and trying to do as much hustling as possible to try to get CDOT to provide a little assistance. And it sounds like they're ready to bite on it if they can come up with the funding. And we've got another meeting about this tomorrow, so hopefully we'll start figuring this out.
At what point does this become a historical project?
Yeah. Boy, no kidding.
Already
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it already is, yeah. Yeah, when I made that presentation for CPW up there, I told me, I'm really, really desperate to get this money because I want to be able to get it before I die, actually, and get this thing, finished up. So, anyway, we hope that's not going to be the case, but
So you got a project delegated to you when you started, and hopefully before you retire, you can get one project done?
by golly, I sure hope so on this one. I would have asked for an easier project if I'd known. Anyway, we're here to handle the hard stuff and tackle things that, it doesn't look like there's going to be an easy path forward on, but we're going to be persistent, so.
All right. Thank you, James.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Okay, last but not least, we have one more on our item, and it's more discussion that's related to the exemptions. If you want to pull those exemptions up, gentlemen, I mean, I don't know. I think we had 16 exemptions that we were able to look at. I feel like we've kind of beat this one up.
Yeah.
Obviously, we haven't made any final decisions on any of them, but comments, questions?
What was the one mentioned at that meeting Saturday that somebody brought up under exemptions? I know, what?
Consumer gas and electric.
Yeah,
Residential gas.
residential
Yeah.
gas.
I couldn't tell you what it is off the top of my head, but
We'll pull them up here in just a second.
which letter it was, but
Yeah,
I think it was D or
Yeah, I think it
F.
is D.
although overwhelmingly, I think I walked out of there feeling pretty positive. We had a lot of good discussion, and I think that I was actually amazed of the people that told us make sure we don't cut ourselves too short, which was kind of opposite of what I thought we would hear. So here are the exemptions, and I think what it related to was C
Yeah, C.
for residential uses. I think that's what the talk was there. I don't know if we have any more that we really want to discuss on this or not.
Weren't we still trying to get some number estimates? Wasn't that kind of the plan before this discussion? I mean, because we had talked about some of the different numbers, but without, I mean, because the numbers on this could affect what our ultimate rate is.
So we did. So at our meeting Saturday in the slide presentation that we did when we went to the Department of Revenue, we did get some numbers. And if we exempt only what our last conversation was, E, then we wouldn't possibly need to go to the 1.4, which is what we've been talking about, the percentage up to this point in time. Actually, in that slide presentation that we did Saturday to the League of Women Voters, because we have, if we put the overall mix into this with the only one exemption of E, we felt that we could move that down to 1%. So those numbers that we got from the DOR are in that slideshow, and that was kind of the presentation that we did on Saturday
Yeah.
over in Dolores. So it did make a difference. And here again, there were some discrepancies in some of those numbers, but there's some of the stuff that we just don't know what some of the exemptions were or not. So I think that's what we presented Saturday. Again, we haven't voted on it, but if it looks like if we put all of these in, that it looked like through the numbers that we got from the DOR that we could put it to 1%. So it did change, it moved it down 0.4. I mean, so I think that's all we had, unless you guys want to add anything else to this, but
I had
right now.
Comments afterwards, a couple appreciated the openness that we've approached this with, and people being able to have their input of what we're doing.
Mhm. Likewise. Commissioner, have anything else to add?
No, I don't. I think we can move forward with those numbers that we have.
Hang on, hang on, let me fix this again.
The voice.
Hang on, give me a second. Audio.
Travis
Just
trying
put
to
your
talk to us?
microphone down there.
Okay, try it now.
So just real quick, Commissioners,
Just put your mic down there by the speaker. Turn your mic on. Come on, tech guy, let's go.
it's work. Go ahead, Travis. So we're gonna try to meet with Lou from the Department of Revenue via phone on Thursday, just to verify numbers that Brandon from the DOR gave us on that presentation. So we're thinking we're on the right track. There might be a couple of little small changes, but we're still thinking the 1% with E, but we're going to have hopefully final numbers on Thursday if she reaches back out and can make that time.
Okay. And I would agree. I think that's what our whole discussion has been now. Since we're looking at all of the numbers with those exemptions, we're able to kind of move off of that. But to get the final numbers, then we'll have to make that decision. Like you said, Ian, I think you said April 1st. So that's when we'll decide on everything. Up to this point in time, it's been discussion, but it's better to, be able to move that down than to move it up, I guess.
And I think, if we conceive of April 1st as the deadline for the resolution, or I guess it would be April 2nd, because that's the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at that week of March 25th as the week that we kind of nail this stuff in, so I have direction to finalize the resolution, then I can get that to you guys next week. I mean, obviously, we can discuss it that first day of April too, and if any final tweaks need to be made, but probably getting everything locked in, if possible, by the 25th or by that week, just so I can finalize that resolution. That would be helpful.
And I think we're real close. I think we're super close, aren't we?
Yeah, and if you think you need more time than that, we can probably make a decision before then.
I don't think I do. A week should be absolutely fine. I mean, I've got the resolution pretty much written. I just want to plug the details in and get it to you guys, and then that if you guys send it that week, then we can get it up to the people we need to get it up to for final approval, and away we go.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else, Travis?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, thank you. Well, then we have come to the end of our meeting for our workshop, and gentlemen, we are adjourned.
All right.
Thank you all.